Hello, and welcome to Real Life with Lisa, where each week we come together and we talk about things about our life, about our families, about our hopes and goals, and all kinds of things. So I'm Lisa Jacobson, and I am the wife of Matthew Jacobson. We've been married for 24 years, and together we have 8 children. Well, so are you ready for the holidays? That's been the big question lately, and I always answer yes, because I actually love the holidays. I love Thanksgiving, I love pumpkin spice lattes, I love Christmas and New Year's, and people often, I notice they have different responses when you bring up the holidays. Some people are very excited and looking forward to it, but a lot of people have a different response, and they just get very fretful, they get anxious, and they're already stressed out, and we haven't even started. So today I thought it would be fun for us to talk about how to have a stress-free, debt-free holiday with your family. And if you didn't think that was possible, I am here to tell you that it is. I know, because this is something we've been enjoying for a number of years now. So a reader wrote to me, and here's her question, and see if this is something that you would write as well, or something similar. She asked, how did your family handle holiday planning? This is always such a difficult time for our family, trying to decide which family we see on which day and how long to stay. I feel like the holidays are run, and we don't get time to sit and enjoy the company. Every year I try to open the discussion with my husband, but I feel the conversation turns into a defensive battle, each of us battling to get more time with our side of the family. I have a large family with 4 siblings, each married with children, and my husband has only one brother. Any advice would be very appreciated. Okay, good question, and one I can totally relate to. So, in the beginning, when we first started celebrating Christmas, the first year of our marriage, we did everything. We went over to see my side of the family, we went over to see his side of the family, and we just ran ourselves ragged. And then we started having children, and by the time we got to maybe, I think even 1 or 2 children, we were already just realizing that the cost of trying to please everybody was too painful for us both, and not good for our family, and frankly not achieving the goal that we wanted, which was to have in particular I'm thinking of Christmas, but it would also apply to Thanksgiving, because for Thanksgiving you don't want to arrive at the table just exhausted and ragged and edgy, right? You want to arrive with your heart full of thanks. And the same with Christmas. It should be a beautiful day of celebrating Christ's birth, and yet so many times before we even hit Christmas Day, we're already at the end of our rope. So there are some things that we can do that will actually help avoid a lot of that stress and often the debt that comes with trying to do it upright. Okay, so in our family, in fact, my husband will joke and say that our older kids will someday have to have therapy, because we so yanked them around in terms of what we were going to do for Christmas. One year we didn't do anything. We just sat at home and just decided we were not going to have stress. We weren't going to do everything. We just did almost nothing. And that wasn't actually a lot of fun. So we changed our minds on that. And then we tried the all-out Christmas, and that was super stressful and expensive. And so somewhere in there, we decided that we needed to sit down and figure out, what do we need to do that will make our holidays something that is pleasing to Christ and enjoyable as a family and a blessing to friends and family. Now, many of you know it's not that easy to do, is it? So the first thing to do is to start with a blank sheet. And I am serious. I mean something like this, totally blank, which is to say everything is off the table. All of your traditions, all the customary things that you've always done, maybe those things you grew up as a child doing. And I mean, literally everything is off the table. And then you want to sit down with your husband, and you want to say, okay, here together, you're going to talk about what are our goals for this holiday season. And it will be things like, I'm not going to tell you what yours are, but I'll tell you what some of ours are. Ours are a faith-filled Christmas. We would like our Christmases to be, and holidays to be, Christ-centered. And also we want it to be a pleasant memory to our children, and something that they can come back year after year and always either have fond memories or want to carry on that tradition in their own families as the years go on. Also, you're going to want to look at Christmas and figure out what you don't want. And the reason I say this is I think it's easy to have even those things slip into your Christmas, right? So for us, that would be, we really would like to avoid commercialism. And that's going to come up a little bit later when I talk about the debt-free part too. We also, we want it to be me-centered. It was very important to us that our kids didn't grow up with a sense of the world revolves around me and it's all about me. We would like them to be other-centered as well. And so that took some careful planning and brainstorming to figure out how can we make Christmas a beautiful celebration, but not something that just encourages covetousness or envy or just some of those negative, me-focused things in our children. Okay, so you want to have on your list, you just have some broad categories, what you want and what you don't want in your Christmas. Then, this is the fun part. Well, sometimes it's not that fun, but you're going to look up you're going to figure out what goes into each of these categories and evaluate each opportunity, each event that comes your way and try to figure out, does this fit in these categories? Okay, there's one more that you're going to want to also figure out, and that is you're going to figure out a budget and you're going to stick to it. So what I mean by that is you're going to have a time budget, how many events we want to go to, how many evenings we're willing to be out for. Our family literally has a policy of how many evenings we are willing to be out and about and how many evenings we are determined, if at all possible, to be at home for. Then you also want to have a financial budget. And I am just telling you, it is so freeing to have a financial budget and just say, you know what, this is how much we have to spend on this Christmas. And everything that we're going to do has to fit in that. And even though at first it might feel constraining, because when you really look at your checking account and you realize, you know what, the fact is we only have maybe a couple $100s to spend this Christmas. And for us, our family, we actually turned it into a game. I remember one Christmas in particular, we got a $100 bonus. So we knew that's what we wanted to spend on our Christmas gifts. And it was so much fun trying to brainstorm and figure out how we could get 10 gifts for $100 and things that were meaningful and fun and special. And to be honest, that was one of our best Christmases ever, being able to do that. And there was that great feeling when all was said and done and the presents were unwrapped and we were cleaning up the Christmas decorations and realizing that we were starting off that new year with no debt and no regrets on how we had spent the holidays. And it's so much better than, starting January 1 and realizing, wow, I have to pay off all of these expenses that we incurred over the holidays. Okay, so now you're looking at the opportunities, and these are things like going to his side of the family for Christmas, going to your side of the family for Christmas. And I'll tell you some of the things that came up for us. For instance, in my family, we always had a big to-do over at my parents' house. They live about 3 hours from us over a mountain pass. So every Christmas, we were going to load up our family and drive over the mountain pass. And we live in the Pacific Northwest. It's often very stormy and actually quite dangerous to go over the pass. And so after a Christmas or two of risking our family in this way, I talked to my parents and I said that, Dad, Mom, we love being with you at Christmas time. But the truth is, it's very hard on our family, and it's exhausting and it's scary for me as a young mom to take my children over the pass like that. And so we're going to have to not be with you this Christmas. And my parents were very disappointed, of course, but I'm very blessed to have generous and kind parents. And they said, we totally understand and you need to do what's best for your family. And what we did do was we kind of came up with a compromise, and we told them, why don't we come earlier in the month before the snows really hit and before it's the Christmas flurry. So usually about the first week of December, we have an early Christmas with my parents, and it's always a blessed time. It's not the same, and we realize that, but it is so much better for our family than to have us running back and forth over a mountain pass. And we've actually done the same thing with Matt's parents. We usually get together with them because they live right here, but with his extended family, they have a big family gathering on the other side of the mountain as well. And I realized it was very disappointing to them that we stopped attending that. But the freedom and the peacefulness that came with not having to scurry about like that was just so worth it for us. So here's the key to having that peaceful, restful Christmas. And that is making those decisions ahead of time rather than letting those things happen to you. So just knowing ahead of time that my husband and I are on the same page. And in a couple of weeks, I'm going to talk about more specifically about marriage and holidays. But for now, let's just leave that there, that we want to be on the same page on what are our priorities and how each event fits or doesn't fit into those. And then the hardest part is probably being willing to say, no, thank you, I can't attend. No, thank you, that doesn't work for our family. No, thank you, I'm sorry, that sounds so fun, but we're not able to do that. And in some cases, especially when there's family involved, there's paying the price of disappointing people. But in our experience, the joy of not running around and having Christmas happen to us instead of us being purposeful about what kind of Christmas we want to have is totally worth it. So I hope this encourages you. And next week, we're going to be talking some more about things like what do you do when there isn't, you can't come to an agreement, or what do you do when your priorities conflict. Also, just some special and creative ways that you can prepare your family's heart for the coming holidays, that you really can rejoice together and celebrate the true meaning of Christmas. Thank you, and I'll see you next week.